Now, each and every week on Tuesday, many of you will know that we get the insurance registrations, which indicates the amount of deliveries our favorite stocks like Nio or EV stocks like Nio did for the previous week. And as seen on the screen, you'll notice that for this past week, the insurance registrations for Nio and Onvo combined were sitting at 3,300. This is bad, this is low, way lower than I expected, and I know the short sellers will be very happy about this figure today, which might result in the share price of Nio going below $4. But this weekly insurance registration report, to me, it does not change my sentiment around Nio, because it's just a 1 week's report, and we don't know why Nio had these low insurance registrations or had these low numbers for last week. And based on what I've been seeing on Nio, they hardly come and explain why their insurance registrations are low. The only time they explain maybe why deliveries or sales were low, it's when they are announcing their monthly deliveries. If there was an issue, they will tell you there was a supply chain issue or there was some bottlenecks at this specific area, which therefore led into delivery slowing down. But for insurance registrations, I don't think Nio will come and clarify as to what is the reason behind the low numbers. But again, I do say that this 3,300, it is a lower insurance registration figure for Nio, because Nio alone, for Nio models, Nio had 1,500. This is 50% drop from 3,000 we saw last week. Whilst Onvo, this 1,800, it's also a drop from the 2,000. Now, something that obviously we are picking up as we are going through this insurance registration figure, it appears that for the very first time, Onvo had insurance registration more than Nio. This is interesting because I was not expecting Onvo to surpass Nio sales this soon. But seeing it happening this way, I wonder, man, what's the situation, or what's the issue that led into Nio having this low insurance registration, especially for the Nio models. Onvo, I think those are still decent figures for Onvo, which therefore you might not say those are bad numbers for Onvo, because Onvo, you know that it's a car that Nio recently launched, and December they sold 10,500, which therefore this month they are expected also to sell still over 10,000, but maybe closer to 15,000. That's what I say, or that's what I believe to say, that Onvo this month we can expect them to sell 15,000 deliveries. It's possible for Onvo to get to that. But then what about Nio? Nio, the sales are not looking good, because last week Nio, the sales are not good because last week we saw 3,000. This week is 1,500, which in total it's 4,500 for 2 weeks, which, yeah, we will see how this whole story unfolds. We will get to hear what led into Nio. We will get to still see more insurance registration coming, and the report that will confirm the deliveries will be the report coming from Nio on the 1st of February, where they'll be announcing their deliveries for the month of January. And I still stick to my 25,000. I think it's very much possible that we get to see Nio selling 25,000, including Onvo. I mean, last year, January, I did say that Nio had 10,000 deliveries, and any number over 20,000, it will be representing 100% growth onto Nio when we compare to the kind of deliveries they had last year in January. So yes, these numbers are bad, these numbers are low, but this is not the end of the story. It's just a report of 1 week, or it's just 1 week's report, and we will get to see as to what happens in the coming week. We'll still see. I think we are still left with what, almost 3 weeks, and I think we are still left with how much? I think we are still left with how many weeks? Almost 3 weeks, because there's still this week, next week, and the other week, where we'll still be getting, of course, this registration on Nio scooping the deliveries or generating sales, and therefore we cannot make a conclusion to say, because of these 3,300 insurance registrations, Nio, it's done and out. Short sellers, like I said, that's the only statement that can be uttered by short sellers because they are doing whatever they can to get the stock to the bottom, right? And yeah, if it tanks below $4, it will be an opportunity to those that have money to maybe go and load the boat. But again, these are just my opinions. What you do, if you want to wait and watch, you can do that. If you want to trim your holdings, you can do that. Sell all your holdings, you can do that. But me, obviously, it's just that I'm out of cash for now. But hopefully by the end of this week, I get my first paycheck, which I'm going to use a majority of the money into going and buy Nio, because this is a company which is set for greatness, and I most definitely believe that those that are persevering throughout the headwinds of the share price will most definitely be rewarded with time. Nio will print money for us. Nio is that company that, regardless of last week's report, regardless of today's report which you got for the insurance registrations for last week, I still believe in Nio. I still believe we will be rewarded, and I'll still continue doing what I can do best, and that is to go in the market whenever I have money and increase my holdings, load the board, because I know one thing, and that is blue sky is coming. So yeah, man, tell me what you think about this. Otherwise, when you look into the other EV stocks, so we had Tesla at 7,800, BYD at 42,800, then we had Xiaomi 5,400, Leodo 7,600, Xpeng 7,400, Zika 2,800, Leapmotor, you've got 5,200 and 8 or 5,000. So again, this just shows you that, generally speaking, except for Xpeng, some of the car companies are still struggling to deliver the insurance registrations or report the insurance registrations they had previous times, which is something that obviously it tells us that, of course, the demand for car sales in China this January, it's low, and it's the same for all the first month of the year, where we see the demand dropping down. But for Nio, I will say, I'm not condoning anything. These vehicle sales or these insurance registrations are low. They are low. They are bad. I'm saying it as it is before some of you guys come in and of course attack me on the comment section. But anyways, as I've just told you, I'm not going to base off my final conclusion based on a report that just came showing the sales that Nio generated for 1 week, because we might complain about the 3,300 this week, and who knows, last week of this month we get to see Nio having plus 10,000 insurance registrations like what we saw in the last week of December. It is possible. So I'm going to remain long, I'm going to remain strong onto this Nio stock, because I know that we shall be rewarded in the long term. That's all from me, and God bless you all.